We should be careful not to forget, even for 1 second, the season which the country called Kenya has entered into. Now, I'm very aware that many of us are not spiritual and we don't care for the spiritual. But whether we do or not will not change the facts. We're in a dangerous season, and this has come out very clearly in the number of road accidents and especially fatalities over the last month or so. I mean, we have seen some crazy, terrible road carnage on our roads. The ill-fated coast bus accident involving a bus that was already faulty, a bus that even passengers had complained about, even to the police. Yeah, and at the end of the day, it took away 14 precious Kenyan lives. That one happened within this period. And then the much publicized incident, very tragic incident, involving designated driver Jamal Mubarak, who was driving to Nairobi from Mombasa on behalf of a client, a brand new Range Rover, and the owner was driving behind. And along the Mombasa-Nairobi highway, at a place called Maji ya Chumvi, there was a head-on collision with a truck which was ferrying grain. And unfortunately, Bwana Jamal Mubarak and a female passenger perished on the spot. It has been a terrible month on our roads. In the short period between August 1st and September 6th, a total of 182 Kenyans have been injured, some of them very badly, on our roads, and a total of 79 people have lost their lives. What? Hey. Very, very tragic indeed. But to cap it all, this last Thursday was a most tragic development at Hillside Academy, Endarasha. Oh boy. Where so far 21 pupils have been confirmed deceased, and 70, according to Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who comes from the area, Nyeri, and 70, their whereabouts are unknown. Now, while still being very sensitive to those who have been affected by this heart-rending tragedy, the government is, in my opinion, playing games. Because what does it mean, for example, that the whereabouts of 70 students, 70 kids, is unknown? They are unaccounted for. What does that mean? And a fire tragedy has just unfolded. You tell me. What does it mean when the government insists, even as the grief-stricken parents demand concrete information, the government just keeps on saying, I'm sorry, your child is unaccounted for. What does that mean? You know, it is very sad that we are a country of fiddling with the numbers, and also fiddling with the language. We fiddle with election results. We fiddle with them so much that a loser is declared the winner. But now, we're even fiddling with casualty figures. This did not start with the Ruto regime, granted. It has always been with us. But already, I hope you can see that what happened in Nyeri at that primary school is shaping up to be a very serious, unprecedented national tragedy. And in my opinion, this very unfortunate tragedy has exposed Kenya for what it is. It is a country where we're full of greed. We like taking shortcuts, up to the extent where we don't care much about the lives of our young ones. Yeah, but you need to know, we will be held accountable by the Ancient of Days. I promise you that day will come. Yeah, because we have been blessed with children, and it is our responsibility to take care of them and their safety. Now, most of this school is built with timber and corrugated iron sheets, mabati. And this school has 824 pupils, or rather it had 824 pupils. Just do the math. Okay? Mabati? Timber? How? How do you build a dormitory with mabati and timber and you're comfortable? And not only that, the door on the ill-fated day was locked from outside, and the night watchman was missing. Oh boy. Now I agree that construction is very expensive. But is it more expensive than the lives of precious young children? Is it? Those who are not familiar with the country called Kenya and our schools will be horrified to learn that a simple, very cheap gadget called a smoke detector is still a rumor in our country. Oh yes, the country full of V8s and rich politicians has never heard of smoke detectors. Surely after this tragedy, if our very useless parliament can do nothing else, let them pass a law making it mandatory for all school dormitories in the country to have smoke detectors. That would have saved a lot of lives in this instance. And if we can dare think outside the box, I would highly recommend that we start thinking about earthbag buildings for school dormitories, because these are very fire resistant, more cost effective, and much safer in the event of a fire than our traditional block buildings, building with stones and bricks. And it is also very friendly to the environment. Yeah, earthbag ni mchanga kwa magunia, and then you plaster. It can look very beautiful, very solid. But of course we have to deal with the core problem in our country, which is negligence. Yeah, tunadharau vitu nyingi sana. Tunabeba vitu raisi. We don't seem to care for anything else other than money as quickly as possible. Yeah, while ignoring safety and safety standards. And there is something even more terrible I need to say. You see, in the case of Endarasha, yeah, Hillside Academy, the school opened a week late. When others were in school, the pupils of this school were still at home. And during this 1 week, when these kids were at home, there was a lot of pressure from parents. Why haven't you guys opened? Everybody else has opened school. What is happening? When should we bring our children? Etc., etc. Now, hidden behind that pressure is a disease we have in Kenya nowadays, whereby we have handed over the upbringing, the discipline, everything to do with our children, our very precious children, gifted to us by Almighty God. We have handed them over to the care of teachers in schools and house helps. We don't even know our own children. We don't know their character, and we're not interested. We don't have time for our own children. And therefore, when schools don't reopen on time, many parents feel the pressure of their children at home. Can you imagine that? That is how low we have sunk as parents. And money-making schools have taken full advantage of this because they are now recommending boarding for all children who reach grade 6. Can you imagine that? The excuse is that this is a serious class facing national exams. Now, I don't buy that one, even for 1 second. Because the truth is, our current education system emphasizes on continuous assessment. So there's less pressure for exams. That's how it was designed. And in any case, in my opinion, taking a child to a boarding school when they're still so young, in my opinion, is a no-no. In my opinion, is a terrible mistake. I know that not everybody will agree with me, but in my humble opinion, only children who are in high school, 14, 15, 16 years old, should be considered for boarding school. But it seems in Kenya today, we're in a mad rush to get rid of the kids in our homes. Yeah, take them to school, take them to boarding school. Sijui ndio ufanye nini? Maybe to enjoy life without kids bothering you. Because many parents can't even control their own children. They can't discipline them. They can't manage them. Oh boy. We're in more serious trouble as a nation. Yeah, very serious trouble that nobody has imagined yet. Bottom line, there are so many ways in which this Endarasha, Hillside Academy tragedy, would have been avoided altogether. There are so many things that were wrong in this instance. And this mirrors, illustrates what is happening all across the country. Not just in Nyeri, and not just in this particular school. My hope and prayer is that this will be a wake-up call for change. Now, very quickly before I go, when the kipindi cha Lala Salama over my latest offer of a very sensitive video, which is linked to Raila Odinga, indeed linked to recent events we have seen unfold in the country. Yeah, and it explains a lot. And as I said in an earlier video, some of this information, when I dug it out, when I came face to face with it, I was shocked. And it takes a lot to shock me. So I believe you can see the details on your screens right now, repeated in the description area below this video on YouTube, and also in the comments area. If you're in a position to, kindly take action immediately, as quickly as possible, to avoid disappointment. Of course, in the same package, I've thrown in some other sensitive videos, which I'm sure you're going to find super fascinating. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.